Hi, I'm Phil Clendenin with Yamaha, and I'm here to take you through the MOXF Premium Contents Pack. The purpose of this video is to help you manage your waveform and sample data with your new flashboard. We'll go over auditioning the libraries, and we'll give you tips on creating your own custom data. The MOXF comes from the factory with 3,977 preset waveforms in permanent memory. The flashboard allows you to add as many as 2,048 additional waveforms in semi-permanent rewritable memory. These are the waveforms that you can pick. And while it does take quite a bit of time to install waveforms to flash, once installed, you never have to do it again until you want to make a change to your data. So make sure you have plenty of time when you get ready to do this flashboard session. Now, the first thing we need to do is to format the flashboard. Now, if you have a brand new flashboard, it'll only take a couple of seconds to format the board. The boards can be used in several different Yamaha products, the MOXF, the Motif XF, and even the Tyros 5. So the formatting basically puts the MOXF system on it. It takes about 1.5 megabytes worth of room to make it a MOXF board. So it only takes a couple of seconds the very first time you do it. However, when a board is loaded with data, it might take quite a bit longer to do that. So you'll get used to formatting the board. Here are the steps. You simply press the File button, you press F6 Flash, and subfunction 1 for Format. And then when you execute the format, we're ready to go. Using your computer, open the folder on the supplied USB drive and copy the contents to your computer. This will serve as a safety backup so that you always have that data. This will also give you access to the various load instructions and documentation in PDF format. Those can only be read on your computer. And now for a big warning. Now be careful now. If you have data in your MOXF that you have created, please make an all data file backup of that data before proceeding with this tutorial, because loading data will overwrite your data. So if you have data, make sure you have a backup, because there are only two kinds of technology users: those who back up their work and those who eventually have catastrophes. So now we're going to learn a little bit about the loading file types. One of the things the MOXF can do, the data that you've been provided is in all data files, and you'll see an extension .x6a. So an all data file loads and replaces all user settings in your internal memory. This is why it's important to back up. Except what is on your flashboard. Data that you install to your flashboard will remain there. New data goes to the lowest numbered empty location, so you will not be able to overwrite data on the flashboard. This is a good thing, because once you've decided you want a waveform, it's yours to keep until you change your mind. We'll also learn about the one bank voice load option. This allows you to load one bank of 128 voices from an all data file. This can speed things along and is a great way to customize your own library. We'll also learn about loading a single voice. When you select the load type equals voice, this will allow you to load a single voice from within an all data file. So you can pick and choose which voices you like, and then it will install the wave data to the flash board. Auditioning the libraries is all about taking your time, because what you're doing, you are buying a musical instrument. Expect to spend some time with each library as you will be selecting musical instruments. It's like purchasing a new instrument. So, we have given you way more data than you can possibly load. Each library comes with its own load instructions. It will be important to know which file folder contains the new library data. This is where the instructions are very helpful. During the audition process, we will be loading each library individually. And later, you can assemble just the voices that you like. So, selection. While auditioning, take notes about the voices and the programs that appeal to you. We have given you far more data than can be loaded into your 512 megabyte board at one time. This is a good thing because you're not going to be happy with every sound. Everybody has different tastes. Everybody's into different kinds of music. So please, the selection process is very important. Take your time. After auditioning a library, reformat the board before auditioning the next library. Take your time. The goal is ultimately to only have data that you will actually use on your flashboard. And here's the basic flashboard rule. It works on a whichever comes first basis. Your flashboard can hold 512 megabytes of data, 2,048 waveforms, 8,192 individual samples. When you reach any of those limits, it's whichever comes first. If you've put 512 megabytes of data on the board, it doesn't matter if you've done that in 8 samples or if you've used all 8,192. To give you an idea, a kick drum, let's say a kick drum that's 200 milliseconds long. You could have 1,900 of those kick drums on a single flashboard. The longest single sample, stereo sample that you can make is 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, that would be 64 megabytes, and you could only have 8 of those. So somewhere in between. It's really hard to say how much you will have on there, but if you reach the 512 megabyte limit before you reach 2,048 waveforms, your flashboard is full. If you reach the 8,192 samples before you reach the 512 megabytes, your flashboard will be full. So once you reach any one of these limits, your flashboard is full. You'll see as you go along, it's pretty good. You'll get a lot of data in there. Let's take a look at the Chick Corea Mark V data. Included with this data are the load instructions and an owner's manual for the original data, which was created for Chick's own Motif XF. The data file included has already been reformatted for your MOXF. Let's load this library as an example of how to load an all data file. That's a .x6a file. Press the File button, press F3, Load, set the type equals All. Move the cursor to the right side of the screen to highlight the folder CCMK5, Chick Corea Mark V. Press Enter to open the folder. We're going to look into the contents inside of the folder. Inside of the folder, you will see a file, and it's called chickmk5.x6a. Now make sure the with waveform and with sample are marked. This tells the MOXF to now load this file, and it's going to install the waveforms and samples to your flash board. Press subfunction 1 EXEC to execute the load. Do not interrupt the load process while the screen reads "Now installing to flash memory module." Installing this data can take quite a bit of time, and this is very important. If you're a nervous person, get a stopwatch. It can be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It depends on the speed of your USB drive, but it can take quite a bit of time to install. As long as it reads "Now installing to flash memory module," and there's a little metronome going there, just relax. It does take time. What you're doing now is installing all of this data and burning it onto the flash memory module. Now, to give you some perspective, back in the day when synthesizers, sample playback synthesizers were new, I remember on the SY77 time, SY99 back in the early 90s, we had about 8 megabytes worth of wave ROM. Now back then, customers could not burn your own data because it simply took too long. An 8 megabyte wave ROM used to take about 15 hours conservatively to burn. Now we've got it down to at least, you measure it in minutes instead of like hours. But relax, it does take some time. Now, once the library is loaded, you can try out the library. Trying out the library is very important. It's going to allow you to hear the sounds and decide if you like this library. Audition the Chick Corea Mark V Rhodes library. The voices are going to be located in user 1, 001 through 016. There are 16 voices. Now, we consider this library a mega library because all 400 megabytes of this library are used to create the single instrument, Chick Corea's Mark V electric piano. All 16 of the voices use this same wave data. Spend as much time with this library as you desire. Now, before proceeding to the next library, you should format your flash board. And the reason is that the Chick Corea data takes up 400 of your 512 megabytes. The next library we're going to load is even larger than that. So you will need to start again. So formatting the board, there are steps on the screen. You press File, F6 Flash, and then subfunction 1 to format your board. The CS80 MOXF library. Included with the data here are load instructions. All 128 of the CS80 voices are located in user 1 bank of the file. This is important information that you get from the documentation. The included data, which is the CS80 MOXF.x6a file, has already been reformatted for the MOXF. Let's load this library using the One Bank Voice feature. This allows you to redirect the data to any internal user bank of your choosing. This is an important skill. Now, instead of loading all data, we're just going to take the user 1 bank and direct it to user 1 of our internal memory. Later, when you're going to assemble your own custom library, you can use this type of load in order to speed things along. Remember, loading an all data file would replace all the data in your MOXF. Loading one bank allows you to direct the data to a single bank so that you can then load the other banks. So it allows you to assemble the data that you like. Okay, so we press File, you press F3 Load, set the type now to One Bank Voice. Move the cursor to the right side of the screen and highlight the folder CS80 MOXF. Press Enter to open that folder. Inside the folder, you will see a file cs80moxf.x6a. Make sure that with waveform and with sample are marked. Press Enter to open the file. This will reveal the 4 user bank folders within the file. Now you can guess that the 4 user bank folders will be user 1, user 2, user 3, and user drum. Highlight the user 1 folder. It contains the CS80 data. Now if you forget, always remember your documentation will tell you which of the folders contain the data. On the left side of the screen, set the target. Now in this case, we're going to load it to user 1. So we're going to direct user 1 to user 1. Press SF1 execute to execute the load. Do not interrupt the load process while the screen reads now installing to flash memory module. This is 469 megabyte library and will take quite a bit of time to load. If you're nervous about this, just relax. Go watch a television show, come back. It's like cooking. If you watch the pot, it never boils. When it finally loads, trying out the library, sit down and audition these sounds. Take your time. Voices will be located in user 1 from 001 through 128. This library again is 469 megabytes, and you will be able to select specific voices and install just those appropriate the voices to make them sound properly. So in other words, when you decide you like a voice, write it down, all right, and later you will be able to install that voice and its data. Take your time, write down your favorites. Before proceeding to the next library, format your flashboard, and I put the instructions here once again. The next library that we'll load is the Electronic Dance Music Expansion Board. Included with this data are load instructions. There are 32 voices located in user 2. There are 4 performances located in the performance user 1 bank, and there are arpeggios that are also included. So there's lots of different data that is interrelated here. And this may be a little complicated for you because this is one of the things that you can do. You can make an entire set that is interlaced. The data file included here has been formatted for the MOXF. Let's load this library. Because this library has both voices, ARPs, and performances, we will use the load type equals all. Press File, press F3 Load, set type to equals all. Move the cursor to the right side to highlight the folder EDM EXP. Electronic Dance Music Expansion. Press Enter to open the folder. Inside the folder, you will see a file edmexp.x6a. Make sure the with waveform and with sample are marked. Press subfunction 1 to execute the load. Do not interrupt the load process while the screen reads now installing flash memory module. This library will take about 6 minutes to load. Try out the library. There are 32 voices in your user 2 bank, 001 through 032. 4 new performances in the performance user 1 bank, number 1 through 4. There is also 1 new user drum kit that is used for that electronic dance music stuff, the Neo drum kit. There are 34 user arpeggios, and those will be referenced by the performances and the voices. Enjoy this library. Before proceeding to the next library, we'll need to format your flashboard. Auditioning is a process of you want to have the flashboard clear so that you can load your data. Then we can assemble it later. Inspiration in a flash. The inspiration in a flash, it comes with included instructions, and it includes 3 user banks of 128 voices. So there are 384 voices in the inspiration in a flash library. Take your time with this. There are lots of sounds here. The included data, it's in the INSP FLSH, inspiration in a flash.x6a, has already been formatted. We reformatted it for the MOXF. Let's load this library using the file type all. Again, press File, press F3 Load, set the type to all. Move the cursor to the right side and highlight the inspiration in a flash folder, and press Enter to open that folder. And again, inside the folder you will see the file. Make sure you mark with waveform and with sample. Now anytime you are installing data to the flashboard, you want to install the waveforms and samples. Once you have decided on something, you'll see that you no longer need to do that. We'll get to that later. Press subfunction 1 to execute the load, and again, do not interrupt the load process while the screen reads "Now installing to flash memory module." This library takes quite a bit of time to install. Go watch your favorite TV show, make a cup of coffee, go jog, come back. It'll be cooked. All right. Try out the library and take your time. There are 128 voices in each user 1, user 2, and user 3. In general, the user 1 bank is a wide variety of sounds from Yamaha and was included with the Expand Your World library for the MOXF XS. So you'll find all kinds of different bread and butter sounds, horns, strings, pianos, organs, just a wide variety of voices. The user 2 bank is sounds from the Easy Sounds from Europe and DCP, Dave Polish Productions library. So there are a wide variety of sounds there as well. And user 3 are ethnic and world sounds, all kinds of ouds and bazookas and stringed instruments from all over the world. Have fun with the library, try it out, mark down the ones that you'll want to include in your custom library. Also included is a bonus data. This data is from Mr. Yuji from Japan. He's a programmer. He's one of a famous programmer from Japan. He's included 2 voices and 2 performances. The voices are in user 1, number 1 and 2, and the performances are in performance bank user 1, number 1 and 2. This library does not contain any waveform and samples. We just threw it in because it's really cool stuff, and we think you'll enjoy it. Besides, you needed something that would load really quick too. Alright, so again, you press File, press F3 Load, set the type to all, move the cursor to the right side, highlight the folder UJ Voice, press Enter to open the folder. Inside that folder, you'll see the file ujvoice.x6a, and press subfunction 1 to execute the load. You don't have to worry about waveforms and samples on this, so you can either unmark it or just leave it alone. It won't find any waveforms or samples to load, so nothing bad will happen. Enjoy this library. The Ultimate Piano Collection. Included with this data are load instructions, and voices for this collection are housed in the User 2 bank. The included data file, ultimatepiano.x6a, has already been reformatted for the MOXF. Let's load this library using the load type one bank voice. Now, we've done this once before. Try it again, because here again the sounds are all included in User 2, so they're all in one bank, so we can practice moving one bank from the file into a bank internal. Press File, press F3 Load, set the type equals one bank voice. Move the cursor to the right side and cursor down and highlight the Ultimate Piano folder. Press Enter to open that folder. And inside the folder you will see the file, ultimatepiano.x6a. Make sure with waveform and with sample are marked. Press Open to open the file. This will reveal the 4 user bank folders within the file. Remember, there's User 1, User 2, User 3, and User Drum. Highlight User 2 on the right side, and you can see the arrow pointing to the left side, and set the target in your internal memory. Alright, so you can see you can set that to User 1 or wherever you want to direct it. Shown, User 2 is going to the User 1 bank of the MOXF's current internal memory. Press subfunction 1 to execute the load. Again, do not interrupt the installation process. I think you've got the idea now. It does take some time, but it's well worth it. Alright, try out this library. There are 32 new voices in all. Just some background, the CP1, which is Yamaha's top-of-the-line stage piano. It's a Yamaha CF3S 9-foot grand, meticulously done. Very popular S90 ES piano, which was a Yamaha S700 acoustic piano. It's a handcrafted $250,000 piano. It's a nice one to have. All right. From the original motif, you have the Power Grand and the Jazz Grand. These were very popular. We could never let those go. The Motif EX, you have the full grand, and you have some of the pianos from the Motif XF. Enjoy this library. Pick out your favorite piano. Remember to write it down. Now let's get to the point where now we're going to customize your own flash content. And this is what flashboards are all about. You don't want to put any data on the flashboard that you're never going to use. Now, the 3,977 waveforms in your preset memory, Yamaha tried to include sounds that we think you would need. Now, our best effort, something there you're not going to like. On a flashboard, you can put only the stuff that you like on there. This is your chance to customize the WaveROM your way. Do not waste your WaveROM by putting waveforms there that you'll never use. So, customizing the WaveROM is very important. So get your list of what you've written down, and we can see how you can assemble this. We'll give you some examples. Waveforms are what organizes samples into usable groupings. So think about this. Let's say we did a piano and we sampled every note of the piano. All right, we'd wind up with 88 samples, minimum, if we sampled every note. All right, so there are 88 samples. All of those samples go to make up one sound, the piano. All right, so those 88 samples can be grouped together into a waveform. The waveform organizes samples into a usable grouping. You don't want to have to deal with the 88 samples. You just want to deal with that one waveform. So the MOXF does all the heavy lifting. It associates by you telling what waveform you want, it gathers all the samples and groups them together. Waveforms are then accessed by elements within a MOXF voice. A normal voice can have 8 elements. So let's break this down. One of the most popular pianos is the S700 piano. It has 3 waveforms. Each waveform has 90 samples in it. All right, so there are 270 samples organized into 3 waveforms. All right, the first waveform is a soft strike. So you can imagine all the keys on the piano were sampled with a very soft velocity. Then there's a medium strike. There are 90 samples that represent the full piano at medium volume. And then there's the hard strike. 90 samples again, all right, making up that element, all right, that waveform for the hard strike. So waveforms are accessed by elements. You simply select the voice you want. The MOXF will load the voice data to your user bank and install the necessary waveforms and samples to your flashboard. You just pick the voice. The MOXF does all the heavy lifting. It puts all the data in place. And it makes a note and updates each voice as to where those waveform and samples are so it can find them later. So we'll experiment and start by loading a single voice from an all data file. So you're going to start with a formatted board. Again, creating your own custom library, you want to start with a clean board. Let's load a single voice from the Ultimate Piano Collection. The waveform will always be placed in the lowest numbered empty location on your board. In other words, when you load data to the flashboard, nothing ever gets overwritten on that flashboard. It looks for the lowest numbered space that's empty, and it puts the data there. This is so that you will never ever lose data that you've selected by accident. It just simply cannot happen. That location will be cataloged by the MOXF so that it will know where it placed the data for each voice. It does all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is pick the voice by name. Once you've installed the data to your flashboard, you will make an all data file and save it with sample so that you have a document that knows where your audio is for your voices. In other words, once you've assembled your own custom library, you will never use the libraries that came with the board. You will use your own custom library. Press File, press F3 Load, set the type equals voice. Mark the with waveform and with sample boxes, highlight the ultimatepiano.x6a file, and press Enter to open the file. This will reveal the 4 bank folders within this all data file. Highlight the User 2 folder. It contains the Ultimate Piano Collection data. Press Enter to see a list of voices in the folder. User 2. Now highlight the voice on the right side you wish to load. Set the target location on the left side of the screen. This is where you want to put it. The screen indicates the voice currently in that location. This way you know what you're overwriting in your internal bank. Now, if you're new to the MOXF, you need to know that all of the data in the User 1, User 2, and User 3 banks are placeholder data. In other words, the natural grand piano that you see here as User 1001 is located elsewhere in your MOXF. So you're never going to overwrite important data in a brand new MOXF. The user banks are for you to put your user data in. Press subfunction 1 to execute the load. And by now you're familiar with this screen. Now installing to flash memory module, and you never disturb it while it's doing this. You see the little metronome there. While that's clicking away, everything is very, very good. So let's just describe this screen for a second. You see that in the upper left-hand corner, the word file. You always know what mode you're in because in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, it will always indicate what mode you're in. The rest of that top line shows me that I'm in the root directory of my USB drive, and I'm in a folder called MOXF PCP, which is the Premium Contents Pack, and I'm looking in a folder called the Ultimate Piano. All right. The MOXF will place the voice data in User 1, 001, A01, and install the waveforms and its samples to your flash board. It will update the voice information so that your MOXF knows where to find the audio data. If you were to load another voice from this collection, if that waveform data is already in memory, it will not duplicate it. It'll only take 2 seconds to load the voice. When loading data from the same source file, the MOXF will know whether or not it needs to install any new waveform or sample. This is the beauty of it. Once you have your waveform and samples in memory, loading voices literally takes less than a second. Once it's loaded, go to voice mode, User 1, 001, A01. This is the CP1 CF Grand Piano. Now what we're going to do is navigate so that you can find out, you can see where all this magic takes place. In voice mode, you can see exactly where the waveforms are being referenced by the voice data. All right. The wave bank, as you see on the screen, is set to user. That's talking about your flash board. The wave that it's referencing is on the flash board. The wave number is 0001 out of a possible 2048 possible waveform locations. To get to this screen, you press Edit, you press 1 to view element 1's data, press subfunction 1 oscillator, press function 1 oscillator, press subfunction 1 wave. This will take you to the screen where right now this waveform is being accessed. This is where the magic takes place, the oscillator. The oscillator in any synthesizer is the vibrating object. It is the thing that is making the sound. All of the other parameters under pitch, filter, amplifier, LFO, EQ, output level, note limits, all of that other stuff dresses up this oscillator. The oscillator is the sound source. All right. Now you can always come to www.yamahasynth.com. That's our website. If you get stuck, you have any questions concerning your MOXF and the Premium Contents Pack, join us online in the forums. We will get you answers as quickly as possible, and it's quite a community we have going, and it's a lot of fun. So sit back and enjoy. Take your time with this data. It's way more than you can load in a day. It may take you a couple of weeks to get through all of this data. Take your time. If you're one of these people who think you're going to hear it all the first day, no, not a chance. All right, but enjoy. Have fun, and it's all about your music and having fun. If you're not having fun, it's probably not a Yamaha. I'm Phil Clendenin, Bad Mister on the forum. I'll see you out there online.